Rose fans, happy Friday. Happy Birdland Mailbag. Uh, Big series coming up. I'd say make or break for the season. A lot of talk about Gunnar Henderson going on out there. We'll cover some of that. Again, big, gigantic series. And we got all kinds of cool stuff to talk about. Please put your questions and comments in the chat. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes of Joe Rossano's Orioles Report with the brilliant Michael Sullivan, the handsome Matt Faulkner. Speaking of the handsome Matt Faulkner, all right. All right, brother. I say this like every 2 weeks. This is the big series now. This is big stretch. This is the big this, the big that. This this is pretty big. I mean, look, we can cash the American League East in. All right, I'm finished with that. Um, Lost 2 out of 3 to Texas, 2 out of 3 to Minnesota. I mean, the Orioles needed that like they needed holes in their heads. Matt Faulkner, what say you?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny. We've had this conversation a lot over the last, I don't know, month or so in terms of every series seemingly going to make or break the season, whether the Orioles are going to stay in the playoff hunt. Disappointing start to the road trip. We had talked. I think it was the last Friday. We talked about the three series coming up. They had Texas, Minnesota, and you would have loved to have been able to at least go 3-3 in those 6 games. They give a game away in Texas. Thought Wednesday when they went up 4-1 that they were kind of in the driver's seat. They found a way to lose that one. So you go 2-4 in those 6 games, and then you're staring at probably the best team in the American League, probably the hottest team. 9 wins in a row. Talking about Tampa Bay. The Trop has been a bugaboo of a place for the Orioles. They were swept there in May. They returned the favor when the Rays came to Baltimore later on in the spring, but going to be a tough series. It's a four game set. The Orioles, to my knowledge, have not released who's on the mound tonight. A lot of people are kind of saying it's probably going to be Chris Bassett. He'll be, coming off of his rehab stint down in AAA. But yeah, I mean, certainly the Orioles, these next 10 games really, because you got 4 at Tampa, the Yankees for 3, and then Tampa returns to Baltimore for another 3. So these next 10 games are going to really sink or swim when it comes to the Orioles. If they go 2-8, 3-7, they're cooked. If they go 5-5 or better, I mean, because we have these conversations, they're still only 2 games back. There's not really one team that wants that third wild card seat. It's mind-boggling at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still cooked. Quite
I mean,
frankly.
I do too. I
mean,
do
I'm
too.
just being honest.
Oh, I do too. But I'm
Oh, they're
saying that
cooked. Matt Faulkner.
2
Breaking
games
news.
is 2 games. 2 games that you feel like there's a glimmer of hope that we've been waiting all year to see them go on a run. They I think got 6 or 7 wins in a row at one point earlier in the year. If they have another run in them, I mean it's kind of now or never at this point. But right now the concern right now is the rotation. I think because you look at the last 3 or 4 starts. Shane Baz, for as good as he's pitched most of the season, he was not good on Wednesday. Gets 3 innings. Brandon Young gave you 6 his last start, but he's another guy where he's already at his career high in innings in the minors and in the major leagues. So you worry that he's starting to get worn down a little bit. You look at the game logs, he hasn't been pitching as deep into games. Trevor Rogers, he was throwing 97 miles an hour, but had no command the other night. And so, Kyle Bradish right now seems like he's the one that we sort of trust the most. But they're obviously going to need more from the rest of the rotation if they're going to sustain any kind of streak.
Now, according to RotoWire and like where you gamble and stuff, they do have Chris Bassett tonight for the Orioles. So I would say that that's a very, very good. I'd say that's a good bet. I'd say that that's probably what we're looking at here. Now, Matt Faulkner, here's the thing. All right. I mean, what are the expectations now? Um, I don't have it in front of me, but I certainly can pull it up. Where are the Orioles? Are they 3 out? Are they 4 out? Where are we here? Yeah, I think you said
So
it already, and I think I missed it.
yeah, so as crazy to believe, they're still 2 games out. I think they came into the road trip. They were a game back of Texas going into that series. Texas since then has kind of fallen apart. They're 2 games under 500, and right now the Tigers are a half a game up on Texas for that third wild card spot. So the Orioles are 2 games out. The issue is you've got Toronto, who sort of played their way back into it. Toronto's 2 games back. Cleveland a game and a half. The Twins are a game back, and then Texas a half a game back. So you've got, what, 5 teams
Mm-mm-mm.
all within 2 games of each other. Now, some of these teams will play each other and kind of will probably beat up on each other a little bit, but the Orioles are going to have to they're going to have to beat Tampa. They're going to have to beat the Yankees over these next 10 games to stay, in it, so to speak.
Absolutely. Let's just for giggles here, Matt Faulkner. Let's take a look at these standings. So, as you said, Matt Faulkner, you have the Yankees +8, the Red Sox that played as well the last 2 months as you're going to play baseball. The Detroit Tigers, this is post Tark Skubal, okay, post Casey Mize. And for some reason, okay, now this is why I always get back to this Craig Albernaz thing. It drives everybody crazy. Is when you got a good manager, I don't want to hear, I got it, he cheated, whatever. I understand. But when you got a good manager, you seem to stay in it. And they're in it. 2 games
Yeah.
back, right? 2 games back, 5 games below 500. I got to tell you, Matt, as you said, the Rangers, half a game back, the Twins a game back, the Guardians a game and a half. Jays have now tied the Orioles. The Seattle Mariners have fallen apart. They are now 8 games below 500. If I'm a Mariner fan, I'm pretty upset
No,
there.
that Taylor Ward
But
acquisition hadn't worked out for him like they thought maybe.
it didn't work out for us either, Matt Faulkner.
No, no.
So So we got Orioles fan 1972. We love Orioles fan 1972. As much as we want this team back in the playoffs, all that does is get Elias a longer leash from Ruby, and we won't win a series any. What, Matt? Whether or not they lose the series in O's fan 1972, I don't care. They could get swept again. I just want them to go. You know what I mean? Close enough. You never know. Dylan Beavers, those guys could steal a bunch of bases in the postseason. Something crazy could happen. Tyler O'Neill, it's 5 home runs in 2 games or something. I mean, again, I have seen some crazier stuff, man. I mean, again, does it? I mean, they make the playoffs. Pretend. I mean, they're certainly not going to fire Elias after that, right? Or would they
I
anyway?
mean, I think it certainly is harder to do that if they do sneak into the playoffs. But again, I'm not getting my hopes up. I feel like I let myself down every time this team kind of reels me back in. They let me back down. I'm just tired of riding that roller coaster. I mean, I'd love to see it happen, but I fear, like I said, these next 10 games, I don't feel good at all. You're playing Tampa 7 out of 10 games, and they're the best team in the American League, one of the hottest teams in baseball. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't know that it's really going to be a discussion because I think it's kind of moot.
I mean, I just don't get how they're so good all the time. JT Miller time, hot take. Watching the current Orioles play, like watching Gary Busey talk about buttered sausage. Ugh, buttered sausage. You ever had that, Matt?
I
Up in
can't say that I
Delaware?
have. No, I don't. Scrapple, yes. Not I don't know what
Never
buttered
had that
sausage
one, huh?
is. No, no.
Ugh,
Uh, they are. I mean,
ugh.
look, they are a very the Orioles are frustrating to watch because it's like you watch. It's my issue is just the. It seems like the mistakes that they make are like you can almost kind of see them happen before they occur, and you know, I don't know. It's been a long year. I think because of the expectations coming into it, I think we all are a little bit let down. I think we all had higher expectations, higher hopes, and that the reality dose is it hits hard sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so sad about all this, man. Michael Sullivan was right. I did need therapy. Round iron 7. Honestly, think Boz was tipping his pitches in his last start. That third inning, they were hitting everything, including some tough pitches, like they knew they were coming. Maybe I mean, that's the thing about tipping pitches, right? If you're tipping a pitch, I would imagine the other pitchers in the dugout probably pick it up, or somebody on the Orioles side picks it up. But when a pitcher throws a curveball in the dirt and it gets hit, or a 98-mile-an-hour fastball outside the zone and it gets hit, it was coming.
Well, and the other part with Boz was the velocity was down. I think he only averaged like 94 on the fastball, which about a tick or two below what it was 96, 97 we've seen at times. And after the game, he kind of
Head
mentioned that
arm.
he wasn't sure if it was just because it was a day game, if it was just one of those days where the ball wasn't coming out of his hand as well. But yeah, I mean, it was disappointing because he hadn't been getting any run support all season. I mean, he threw against Texas 8 innings and they lose 2-1, and then he finally does get some run support. They scored him 4 runs in the by the third inning, and then he couldn't get an out in that inning. I mean, there was a lot of loud contact. It's funny you mentioned the tipping pitches. It's kind of similar, with Dean Kramer. We saw what he did when he started against the Orioles, and they showed on the broadcast how the Twins had gotten him to kind of raise up his arm slot a little bit, and how it kind of played differently as opposed to when he was in Baltimore, how it was more. I don't know if it was like a 36 angle versus a 48. It was, I don't want to get into the math, into the weeds, but essentially they adjusted where he was releasing the ball from, getting more kind of vertical with his elbow as opposed to on the side. And he looked good. I mean, I think, maybe they found something that somehow the Orioles didn't find or see, but that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, yeah, you go to another team, they make an adjustment, and you're phenomenal. Of course, of course.
Well, the other
That
part of
man,
it
if
is,
you ever know what, Joe, when it comes to the Orioles, what makes you the maddest? It's that. It's that. It's when
well, I
they
also,
go to another team. Baker's an all-star. I mean, that drives me nuts.
well, I would also say that a lot of these guys, their ERAs are better after they face the Orioles. Like the Orioles starters, their ERAs would be better if they could face this lineup. You know what I mean? Like it's as sad as that sounds. I mean, I think that Dean Kramer game, I think Jackson Holliday's like dribbler in front of the plate was like really the only legitimate they had for like the first 6 innings. Like it was tough. I mean, they weren't even making
Crazy.
solid contact against Kramer. And when he was with the Orioles, I mean, he couldn't get out of the first inning without giving up 3 or 4 runs. And to see him go from one extreme to the other, you're just like, man, like, can it get any worse?
I'm not sure it can, Matt. But let's uh let's see here. We got Izzle LCC full. I don't know. You young guys might know what that says.
Mhm.
When the majority of the players underperform, it's coaching, and this staff is horrible. Adley underperformed and was never going to re-sign, and Gunner should feel Gunner should feel guilty for cashing paychecks. Well, he's not the only one. There's a lot of people in baseball shouldn't cash their paycheck. I'm trying to think of his name. Rondone from the Angels.
Oh yeah, he
I
was
think he signed a
notorious.
$200 million contract, and I don't think he played at all, or maybe a couple of his bats here and there. But that a lot of them shouldn't. Mark Kogar. That's good. We'll call you Mark. How you doing? I don't know why you don't understand. Gunner sat and watched a line gets a 5-year, $155 million deal. Basayo gets paid and not even play a game yet. That's why. Oh, where are we at? That's why he said he can hit anymore. I'll let you take that with Matt because that one went over my head a little
I
bit.
think he's referring to the fact that the Orioles gave Basayo an extension before they really even saw him play a whole lot in the major leagues, and I just think it's different because you're looking at Basayo, who is 20, what is he, 22, 21, 22. I mean,
21, right?
yeah,
Or
21.
maybe has turned
I think he just
22
turned
since he's been
22,
out.
something like that. And
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
they also knew, I mean, behind the scenes, they probably figured that Rushman was going to be traded, or they were at least not planning on having him long term. And so the thought was, we'd rather lock him up now and bank on him producing than to wait, and then the cost and the price tag just gets higher and higher. They didn't want to make that mistake. And with Gunner, I mean, you're looking at a completely different situation because here's a guy that has had in 2020, was it 24, when he came up and kind of lit the league on fire. I mean, you're looking at a potential MVP type guy, an elite tier type talent that's going to require, 200-300 million. Like, you're looking at way more than what Basayo got. So I don't necessarily think it's the same
Correlation?
situation. Right. Right.
No.
I just think they tried to cash in while they had an opportunity before it was too late and before they were going to have to really pay him a lot more money. Because I think we'll look back on the Basayo deal in a few years and say, like, what a steal that was for what they're
Yeah.
paying him for how he's producing.
Yeah, but why didn't they do that to Gunner in 2023? Why didn't they give him 150 million? They could have saved themselves 350 million. Boros wasn't going to let that happen, I guess.
Well, that's part of it
But
too,
I mean,
correct? Yeah. And then the other part
um,
is the player has to want to do it. It's not a one-way street. So
yeah,
the team, I mean, we
right.
don't know, the team may have approached them, but I mean,
They did.
if you're a guy like Scott Boras and Gunnar Henderson is one of your players and you're his agent, like, you're going to bet on the player. Why take a cheaper deal when we're going to keep playing and you're just going to make more money if you keep producing? And that's kind of what a lot of those Boras agents do, is they bet on themselves. They're not worried about this year and as bad of a year as Gunnar has had. I bet they're banking on a rebuild or a rebound type of year next year.
Oh, they always do.
Mhm.
So we got Jay Helmick 301. Joe, I don't know how you do it. With all due respect, listening to Dr. Sullivan
Dr.
is
Sullivan.
pretty insufferable. He must be living in another universe. The points you are making are very clear. Let me see if I can get the rest of this here. One second, everyone. Goodness. And then I'm going to give them my take on the brilliant Michael Sullivan here. Give me one second. Let me see if I can get the rest of this up. The points you are making are very clear, and 90% of Birdland agrees that this wave of young talent has not met expectations. You don't need to be a doctor to know that. Michael Sullivan, the brilliant Michael Sullivan. Let me address this real quick. If Michael Sullivan came on this show and said, "I agree, Joe. Joe, that's fantastic," this show would be terrible. It's nice to have a guy come on here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when he doesn't know what he's talking about. We can argue back and forth. And again, we love the brilliant Michael Sullivan here, however. Let's see here. What else do we have? Matt Faulkner. We have Randall D2L. Let's call all right, Randall. O's should take a harder look at Kramer footage, and maybe the O's can learn something and help Boz and Rogers. You alluded to that point, Matt. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea, Randall. I like that one. I like it a lot. Um,
Well, I mean, I
Something's
don't
wrong.
necessarily see. Yeah, I don't see the because yeah, I mean, Boz did not pitch well on Wednesday, but by and large, he's been pretty good. I mean, his ERA is now under 4. Like he's pitched much better than his numbers would tell you. They've not helped him defensively. Like I can think of at least 3 or 4 different games where that defense has kicked it around behind them, put him in tough positions. Trevor Rogers, his April was not very good. Then he got the flu, was sick, and kind of had to come back from that. But he's been good. Not been as good as he was last year. I don't think many of us expected him to repeat it, but he's certainly been good enough. Kramer was god awful for the most part this year. I mean, and some people point to him being sent down out of spring training as a reason as to maybe why he kind of soured on the Orioles, so to speak. And then when
I
he did
would
get
have.
brought, yeah, when he did get brought up, I mean, he didn't pitch well. He got lit up. It seems like he couldn't get out of the first inning. I think the last start he made with the Orioles was in Boston. I think he gave up 4 or 5 runs by like the second or third inning. So he kind of pitched his way off the team. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, especially if the Twins are able to kind of get him to pitch like he pitched in his career where he was a steady number 4, number 5 guy because the Orioles certainly could use it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here comes another one. I like this one. Roy Burnop, 5147. They need to bring up Heston ASAP. Yes, I know he's a lefty and horrible in the outfield, but he also deserves to be up. Matt, this is an interesting one. Let me tell you where I'm coming from. Heston Kjerstad should not still be in the flipping minor leagues. Make a decision on the. I mean, what's he, 30 now? No,
I
figuratively
don't think he's
speaking, you know what I
yeah,
mean.
he's getting up
I
he's getting
mean,
up there
Heston
though, yeah.
Kjerstad came up in 2023 to the big league club, 24, 25. We, obviously had a bad injury, but Leody Tavares not played poorly. He's been okay. He was serviceable, I would say, but he's not part of the Oriole 2027 plan. At least I can't imagine that he would be, right? While it's still early enough, right? Um, Designate uh, Leody Taveras for assignment. Let somebody pick him up, like the Yankees or Boston or somebody that can use a switch hitting outfielder who has postseason experience. I mean, he's not going to get the Orioles one more game closer to the postseason, and I'm not saying Heston Kjerstad is, but it is high time to find out now. Is this Kerstad fella, or is he the number one, or is he the first round draft pick guy that he's supposed to be, or is he going to play minor league baseball for the rest of his life like Crash Davis? You might have to Google that one,
Yeah,
Matt.
I got
Um,
the Crash Davis
you
reference. I got
got
that
it.
one. Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. You got that one, Matt. Right. I mean, let's see him. Let's see him. And because of where they are, let's see him every day. Let's just see him. I mean, like a DH against right-handed pitching right now. You have Basayo down. I mean, again, I would really like to see what the fella can do for once and for all. Matt Faulkner, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of expected them to make this move by now, but it seems like for whatever reason they don't want to pull the trigger on it. I mean, you mentioned Tavares, and I'm not going to sit here and defend Tavares, but I think that Alvarez loves him some Tavares because
Something.
anytime there's a left-handed starter on the mound, it's almost like he's penciled in to play center field because he's a switch hitter. Now we've had this conversation. He's not a very good right-handed
Yeah.
hitter. So,
No.
he's not really giving you an upgrade over what Colton Cowser could give you. Colton Cowser obviously
Right.
can't hit lefties either, but it just seems like Tavares, for whatever reason, is going to continue to get run. You obviously have Christian Franklin is another guy that they have on the roster. They acquired him at the deadline from the Nationals, and he really hasn't played a ton. He's, I think he's got a couple hits, but is not probably a part of the future either. But
No, what's he doing
because
here?
yeah, but because Kerstad's left-handed, I think that's part of the problem.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. And
I think that, with the Orioles and how they platoon, you add another left-handed hitter, and even if you were to take Tavares off this team, well, now you're losing that. And again, he doesn't hit right-handed very well, but you're losing that other guy that can hit switch. That is a switch hitter, and I think that it goes against kind of what they believe. The defense is not good in terms of Kerstad. We've seen him in the outfield, and that's been an issue all year with the Orioles. So adding him to this mix doesn't really make them better. You mentioned DH. The problem is they already have too many of those guys, right? Basayo, you
yeah.
figure, will be back within the next few weeks. So
Oh,
he's obviously a guy
jeez.
that is going to DH at times when he's not catching. Tyler O'Neill is another one. When he's not playing right field, is probably going to DH. Kobe Mayo, when there's a lefty on the mound, he DHs. So it's like you kind of run into some roster construction, some redundancy with the type of players that are right now on this team. I wouldn't hate if they brought him up, but what I don't want to see is them to bring him up and then not play him consistently, and then he plays 1 out of every 4 days, looks bad, and they send him down. If you're going to bring him up, you got to play him. And I don't know that there's really a route that's because they've also got Dylan Beavers, who they I think are much higher on, obviously, than they are Kerstead. So he's going to play every day for the most part. So I just, I don't know that this is going to be the year. And if it's not this year, then the question is it going to be, is he going to be an Oriole going forward? And I don't know the answer to that.
Before we get to the next question or comment, please take a moment, O's fans, Birdland, to please subscribe, share the episodes, like, comment, click the notification bell for our latest episodes of Joe Rossano's Orioles Report with Brilliant Michael Sullivan, the handsome Matt Faulkner. So let's see here. Who is next? We're going to go with O's fan. Orioles fan 1972 again. If they fall out over the next 10 games, I would bring up some guys in the minors. Let's see what they got. Uh, what they got one of the next 5+ weeks. Seriously, I'm ready now. And who does go? I mean, Franklin, maybe they want to take a look at him a little bit more. I mean, what I'm saying is Tavares is not going to get you to the postseason, and he's not coming back. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what they're looking to do here. Um, Matt, again, I just don't see any reason why they don't bring Kerstad up right now, or some of these guys. Just Reed Trimble,
Well, he just got
or
hurt,
just
unfortunately. Reed
oh,
Trimble
did
just
he?
did.
Okay,
Yeah.
just somebody. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna have to tap this one again, I think. Sorry about that. JT Miller time. O's will have a lot of combined money to work with. That is off the books for the 2027 season. They could use it towards a number of moves, including re signing Rodgers. I got to tell you, I mean, if you look at the free agents next season, okay, one being Freddie Peralta, the other being Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers may be the best starting pitcher on the market, and we got him already. Um, and now I think he claimed that the Orioles have not. I think you might have said this, Matt, that the Orioles didn't even approach him. Am I wrong, Matt?
I well, I mean, he had been asked in some interviews about long term what his kind of hope was, and he, to his credit, has said that he loves Baltimore and wants to stay there, but for whatever reason had said that he kind of didn't want to talk during the season, which I don't know how true that is. Could just be player speak. I mean, I think with Rogers, you're Tariq Skubal will also be a free agent, so he'll be obviously the top arm on the market. But I think Rogers is right there with everybody else. Some people, myself included, were a little bit surprised that they didn't trade him at the deadline. I think it speaks to a couple things. One, I think that there is some interest in bringing him back if it makes sense from a dollars and cents standpoint. Now, The other caveat is what 2027 looks like. Is there a lockout? How does that affect? Is it a shortened season? So
Yeah,
there's a lot of
my.
factors that I think go into it. Where if you're Mike Elias, do you really want to commit a ton of money to a pitcher that we don't even know what next year is going to look like from a games standpoint? So I hope that they do resign him because I think that he obviously is going to make this team better, but I don't know what other teams are going to be willing to pay, and if the Orioles are going to get into a competition for his services.
This is a good one. Thanks, JT Miller time for this. Kramer 5.75, Adley over 7 million, 2.4 Wells. That's probably gone now. Adley's is gone now. Kramer's is gone now. Ward's is gone now. 18.5 for Bassett. Crying out loud. Kittredge 9 million. Rogers 6.2 million. Give him the money. Give him the darn money. That's annoying. Gunner is Boros' agent. I mean, Boros obviously is Gunner's agent. Gunner could have told Boros he doesn't want to wait until free agency. Um, most people don't tell their lawyer what to do. I mean, if your lawyer says plead guilty or you're going in for 6 months, you generally do what your lawyer says. And I imagine, and I certainly would not blame Gunnar Henderson, is yeah, I'd listen to my agent if I were him. I would. Heston will be 28 in February. What do you think of that? Heston is not an everyday outfielder, DH only. Okay, yeah. I mean, I would say so. I would say so. I'm just the kind of guy, and this is wrong, Matt. Okay, like Moneyball, his defense doesn't matter, right? I mean, but I imagine it certainly does. So I don't know, Matt. What do you think? Am I wrong again as usual?
Well, the defense, like I said, the defense in under Mike Elias has certainly taken a step back over the last couple of years, particularly this year. And I think if there's anything that you can kind of learn from this year is you cannot punt defense. I think one of my frustrations with Elias and really I would say with the player development is they seem to want position versatility. So instead of letting a guy get good at one position, they're trying to get him to be able to play two or three different positions. And if you don't really master one spot, what good is it? It's kind of similar to what they did with Jackson Holiday. I never really understood why they moved him to third base. I think they had kind of messed with that in the minor leagues for a little bit when he was down, and then he came up with the Orioles, and I think he did end up starting at third one or two games, and it's just like just let him play second base. We don't need to be moving guys around, and that's certainly something that I'm hoping they'll be able to figure out is defense matters. I mean, it doesn't matter how good of a hitter you are if you can't make simple plays and get outs, your pitching is going to suffer, and ultimately it's really hard to win games that way when you're making errors and giving up unearned runs, and that's kind of what the story has been this year, particularly in the outfield. I mean, that spot there, those three spots are going to be something that will be interesting to watch to see how they fill and who they go out to get to fill those spots because they've got to be better defensively next year if they want to turn this thing around.
Sullivan is a shit talker. Matt, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, no. I will say this. He does he has some opinions that he feels very strongly about. I think there's something to be said
Yeah,
about that. Um,
definitely.
and I also think it's one of those things, and you mentioned it, like you don't want to just have people agreeing all the time. I'm not saying you want to argue just to argue, but I think sometimes it's nice to have a
Yeah.
counterpoint or at least from another perspective, getting someone else's kind of vision or viewpoint on something. So it makes it interesting for sure.
Thank you for this. Uh, let me see. Hides in. Can you read that,
Long
Matt?
grass.
Hides in a ton of
Yeah, hides
grass.
in the long grass.
Eh,
Yeah.
the long grass, the ton of
Mm-hmm.
grass. 2 games out. Thank you so much for that. We do appreciate that. Something about. Let me see here. I think I lost it. Um, something about our. Here we go. Heston will be 28 in February. Oh, we did that already. I
Yeah.
forgot that he was We did that. We did that already. Sorry about that, folks. Boz leaves too many pitches, bell tie, crossing the plate, and most got hit hard. I mean, his ERA is a solid 4, right? It's about as good as any, I guess. I mean, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, again, okay, Shane Boz got 5 years, 60 million. Am I right? Something like that. Is that what he
Mm-hmm.
got?
I think
Um,
ballpark, yeah.
was he worth it?
I mean, I think so. I think so.
So
I
do
mean,
I.
is he a 1 or a 2? No, but I think as a 3 or a 4, I mean, I think like I said, you could do a lot worse than Shane Boz. Like I said, I think he's pitched in most cases better than some of the numbers would suggest. The defense has let him down. It's let a lot of these starting pitchers down. He's not the only
God,
one, but it
have
seems
it
like
ever.
they haven't scored runs when he's pitched for the most part, and they've not played very good defense behind him. And he's still pitched pretty darn good for most of the season. I know he didn't get off to the best of starts, but I would say, the last 3 or 4 months he's been pretty good. He's been more good than bad. And I think you could certainly do a lot worse for having him as your 3 or 4 every time through the rotation.
Put Holiday in center field,
Oh,
says Randall D. And find a second baseman. I mean, now let me like when you watch the series, the Minnesota series. They had Keyshaw out there. They had just all kinds of guys out of position playing the outfield. I mean, Kenny, Ken, I know he's not. You're not related to him. You probably haven't talked to him in a while, but Ken, Ken Jackson Holiday play center field. Anybody know him?
I mean, I think that athletically he could do it, but do I think that he would be a good center fielder? No, I don't. I don't think it's as simple as just throwing a guy out in the outfield. And that's kind of, I think, at times what the Orioles have done is they've said, well, this guy, he gets on base, he walks, he does this and that, and we could just throw him out in left field and we'll be fine. And it's like that comes back to bite you more often than it doesn't. Camden Yards is not an easy outfield to play. Left field specifically is really challenging. You can't just put anybody out there and expect them to figure it out. And so no, I don't think that they should screw around with Jackson Holiday and move him to center field. Plus, you've got all these guys right now in the minor leagues that you're hoping will develop. Enrique Bradfield being one of them. I mean, is he a factor next year in center field? That kind of remains to be seen. But so no, I think they leave him at second base and let him kind of continue developing it. There's no reason to move him around.
No, I wouldn't think so either. I am just trying to find something here, unless I made it worse. Okay, let's check this out real quick, folks. Um, all right, here we go. Kobe Mayo, right? 215, 15 home runs, 45 driven in. Okay. Let's consider that now. He, Matt Faulkner, is certainly not, does not play every single day. I'm talking, like Gunner does or Alonso does or Holiday. I mean, you don't see him every day. He's not every day guy. Okay. 15 home runs, might have 20 by the end of the season. Let's call it 18. Plays every single day. I'm saying 25, right? I don't know what it is, Matt. It could be me. I like it, Matt. I like Kobe Mayo. Am I wrong? Do
No,
you?
I mean, I like him, especially when there's a lefty on the mound. Now, you look at his numbers when he's facing right-handed pitching, and it's a buck 78, which has got to be better. But to his credit, it has improved from as bad as it sounds. It has gotten better than where it was a month or two ago. But the
214
problem,
hitter.
yeah, the problem is going to be like, where do you play him? Because you hope that Jordan Westburg is back
Exactly.
next year, right? And so third
Exactly.
base would
Hmm.
be theoretically his to lose. You already got Alonso at first, so you're kind of in a position where with Mayo, it's like, is he just a bench player that starts against lefties and DHs? I know that he has played outfield in the past, but again, I don't think it's as simple as just throwing him out in the outfield because he can hit a little bit. Like your defense has to matter, so I don't think that's a solution. Um, so yeah, you kind of put yourself in a tough spot unless they decide that somebody gets traded. Maybe he is a guy that maybe somebody looks at, but long term, I don't know where he fits in. I mean, I think before they had added Pete Alonso this offseason, I think first base was another option for him, but obviously that's sort of off the table. So it will be very interesting to see kind of what they do. I don't think that he's an everyday third baseman by any means, but I don't know where else he can play. So that becomes an
Me
issue.
neither. That becomes You are absolutely right, Matt Faulkner. Albie oozes weakness, says Randall. I don't like him. I think Boz was worth it. He could be better. I am not a Craig Albernaz fan. Again, Mr. Albernaz, if you're watching, respectfully, sir, I wanted the Orioles to just get a veteran manager. I did not want a rookie manager. That is the bottom line. I don't even know why I'm addressing this one, but check this one out. It's your boy Magic Johnson's birthday today. I don't know if maybe that's your boy. 67 years old and still alive despite having AIDS. Jesus Christ. Matt, were you born in 1990? Were you born yet 1991?
Yeah, I was born in '90, so I was alive, but I don't
No.
obviously remember
Boy.
much. Yeah,
Well, I'm going to take 10 seconds on this. Magic Johnson was, I regret to say, a died 1991. Okay. Follow me? You were a year old, Matt. It's like 35 years, right? I got
yeah.
to tell you, I guess when you're rich, you must get some pretty good medicine. But we do wish Magic Johnson all the best and happy birthday, Magic. Boz could be in the low threes if he cleans up a bit. Holiday has the speed to play center field. He's no second baseman. O's could see. Let me ask you this, Matt. I was a baseball coach. You're a current baseball coach. Holiday, right? At second base. Is that bad? I mean, is he? Is he that bad?
I mean, I think he's continuing to develop there. I mean, we forget he came up as a shortstop, so he hasn't been playing second base that long in the grand scheme of things. So I think is still getting comfortable playing second base. Some people say, can he play short? Can you move Gunner to third? I don't love Jackson Holliday's arm strength to play the left side of the infield. So that's why I think second base is a better fit for him. And I think we forget, he's what, 20, was he 21, 22? I mean, he's a young kid still developing, still getting better. And I have complete confidence that he will. This year has kind of been weird with that injury and spring training. His season has kind of been up and down. I think he's starting to swing the bat better as of late. He's hitting third now, which I think that's kind of where a lot of us, when the Orioles drafted him, sort of expected him to be a top of the order type of guy. I think long term, maybe not this year, but maybe going into next year, he could be a leadoff type of hitter. Right now, it seems like they want to keep Gunner in that spot. But I think, long term, I think he can be fine at second base. I just don't want to see them move him around all the time and just let him settle at one position. That's kind of what I want to see.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Tom W 727 taking my grandkids to their first Orioles game Sunday in Tampa. We live in Florida. We was expecting so much more when I bought these tickets a while back, still hoping this team comes to life. Give us some luck down there,
Yeah.
Tom W. We definitely appreciate you writing in. Yeah, I mean, maybe your grandkids can bring some luck down there in Tampa. Matt, if they split, lose two out of no, if they lose three out of four or get swept, I don't see a way forward at this point. I mean, they just can't seem. They've been two games out. since April. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
I'd rather they lost 10 in a row and it's over, or
Yeah,
win
they
8
keep
in a row and bam, we're right in it. Just make up your darn minds.
yeah,
Jekyll
they
and
keep stringing
Hyde.
us along. Yeah, we're just getting strung along, it feels like. I mean, and the other issue, I mean, yeah, it's 2 games, which isn't much at all. But the problem is you've got, five teams that are in front of them. So on any given night, like not only do you have to win, but you have to get help from some of those other teams because you're not playing them all the time. So 2 games is 2 games, but they're going to have to go on to your point, a sustained, streak here
Yeah.
where they're win out of 8 out of 10. I think with this 4 game series, I think the worst they could be to theoretically stay that they're still in it is split. I think if they lose 3 out of 4 or you get swept and then you come back and you've got the Yankees and then Tampa again, I mean, it's going to be
Mm.
an uphill climb. I would love to see them split. I think that would be great. If they could somehow find a way to take 3 out of 4, I'd be on cloud nine. Now, again, they've not played well in Tampa. Tampa's won 9 games in a row. So the cards are certainly stacked against them. But if there's one thing we've seen from this Orioles team, it seems like when we want to count them out, they certainly have found ways to surprise us, so to speak. I mean, I think the
Same thing
Tiger
when you try
game,
to count them in.
yeah, exactly. Well, that too. I think it's worked both ways. I mean, they were down 7 runs in the 7th inning against the Tigers and found a way to come back and win that one. So they play all 27. They're going to give you 9 innings of baseball. It may not always look the best, but they're gonna make them count. And it's just a matter of what kind of pitching they're going to get because this Rays offense, swinging the bats well, they are really good at the Trop. It's a tough place to play because there's hardly anybody there. I think it actually kind of helps the home team because the visiting team I think is sleepwalking a little bit because you got 10,000 people in the seats and what have you. But yeah, I mean the Orioles, everything that they want is still theoretically in front of them. It's just a matter of can they find some consistency
Some consistency.
offensively. It's been frustrating because it seems like they'll go on streaks where they can't score, then one game they'll break out and then they go back to not scoring again. Other games we see them score runs early and then they go cold the rest of the game. So it's just a matter of you've got what 41 games left and you figure they're at 58 wins now. You probably are going to need to get to 83 to get into there, so you're probably going to need to go 25-16, something like that, to get in. And like I said, the next 10, you've got 7 against Tampa, 3 against the Yankees. So we'll see kind of where they are after those 3 series. But I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not trying to get my hopes up either.
Randall, I feeling about Mayo. If they trade him, I think he turns it on because he's playing every day. He has improved the more he played. He played left field a few times. Mayo comes back to bite. Okay, so um 2 words for you when it comes to that, Matt Faulkner, and those 2 words are Christian Walker. Right? Remember him?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He didn't have a chance at playing when he was here, right? And again, let's see what he did. 29 home runs in 2019, shortened season. So here we go. 2022, 36, 103 driven in, 26, 27, 22 thus far this year, 67 RBI. Yeah, that's the thing. That's that is a tricky one. That really, really is. Kobe Mayo, it can go somewhere else and come back and bite us, and I would really rather he didn't. Bring back Buck Showalter things and bring back fundamentals and normalcy for 2 years and and find someone else. No, I don't want Buck Showalter back.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say you're not a Buck guy.
Um, I mean, I'm going to get some footage one of these days and just run it of all the mistakes he made as a field manager. Thing where I'm coming from. Okay, now listen very carefully because I know this is sacrilegious, O's fans. He was the New York Yankees manager, and he lost Torrey takes over, they win. Diamondbacks, he lost. The Texas Rangers, he lost. The Orioles, he lost. New York Mets didn't even give him a chance to lose as much as he should have, but he lost. All right. Everywhere he's gone, respectfully, Mr. Showalter has lost. Okay. Now, Buck Showalter is phenomenal, phenomenal, changing a culture and getting the most out of a player and judging. So I'm going to give him all that. Just when it comes to the manager X's and O's kind of thing, he's not my cup of tea. I love him, right, Matt? Buck Showalter.
I will always be forever indebted to Buck, and now he kind of brought baseball back to Baltimore, so to speak. But I mean, he's also 70 years old, so I don't see them going that route because number one, he's 70 years old. I mean, does he want to go through the grind of being a major league manager again? This is the front office that got rid of him, right, when they took over, or I shouldn't say get rid of him, but they didn't bring him back. So it's not as if it's going to be, something where I think that is realistic. I just, I think there is something to be said about Buck and the fundamentals. Like, I think if anything, he probably could have a role in some team's front office more so than he could as a day-to-day like manager. But you can knock some of his decisions that he made during games. Everybody will bring up the Zach Britton not coming in against Toronto in the wild card series, but you know, the Orioles played fundamental baseball compared to what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years since he's been gone. You knew that they were going to do things the right way. The little things were not going to be overlooked, and I feel like in today's baseball, that's not always something that happens. And unfortunately, those little things that we've talked about have cost the Orioles, whether it's missing the cutoff guy, throwing to a wrong base, base running blunders, those things that oftentimes don't make the box score. You're not seeing highlights on ESPN about. They are the difference between winning and losing. Good teams don't make those mistakes. The bad teams do. And far often this year, the Orioles have been on the wrong side of those games.
Man, I was a soccer player as well as a big. Now, when I played soccer, right, this one, not that long ago, there were guys on my team, mostly on my team, but just guys around the league who played for the Blast. All right. Played for the Baltimore Spirit, played for the Milwaukee Wave, the Cleveland Crunch, that type of thing. The league I played in was like all ex pro players, right? Now, the difference between a pro player, as you alluded to, Matt, and an amateur, okay? You make a bad pass against an amateur player, they could possibly trip over the ball or they could hit it out of bounds. You make a mistake against a pro player, a quality pro player, you're going to pay for that mistake.
Oh,
Right.
100%.
And yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, they're paying for the mistakes.
Well, and
Um, eh,
the other th-
Go ahead.
no, the other thing I was going to say is, like, we've talked on here. I think it was last week we mentioned like player development. Is there a disconnect between what is being preached, what's being taught in the minor league on the farm, that's somehow not translating in the big leagues? And it's like, I did some research this week, and I actually had forgotten about it until we just started talking about it. But the defense, like, you look at the Orioles in the minor leagues right now, right? AAA Norfolk in the in AAA, the International League, in fielding percentage, they're 19th out of 20 teams. Okay, Chesapeake, which is Double A, they're last. They're 12th in their in defense. They're dead last in the division in defense. Frederick, which is High A, is ninth out of 12th, and the Shorebirds with the Low A team, they're 12 out of 12. So it's like the defense is bad in the minor leagues, and I don't know if it's a player evaluation, if it's scouting. Like, I don't know if they're bringing guys that can't field in, if they're I don't really know what the solution is, but the problem is it's an organizational thing. It's not like it's just one particular position or one particular team, it's spread throughout the entire organization. And so you have to kind of question some of what they're doing in the minor leagues, because ultimately those guys come up and they're a part of your big league team. And if you can't field in AAA, how do you expect to field in the major leagues? I don't know.
Well, I mean, here is the thing. At the end of the day, this is the make or break series. All right. If they lose, they are finished, in my opinion. This is a good one. Who would you bring in with strong fundamentals? I like Joe Madden. Okay, that's who I wanted to manage the Orioles. Other than that, I thought Don Mattingly would not have been a bad choice. Um, Matt, who's a good fundamental guy out there? I'll take Alex Cora.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cora is certainly going to be on a short list of a lot of teams in terms of any managerial openings. I mean, I think the Phillies had offered him the job when he was let go from Boston and he turned it down. I mean, you mentioned Joe Madden. Joe Madden's 72. So we get into like, do you really want to
Yeah.
bring a guy that's sort of on the later stages of his career? Like, do you want to have a guy for a year or two before he retires? Or are you trying to build this thing out long term? Because obviously you're going to have to go much younger than that. I don't obviously think it's really worthy of a lot of time because they're not going to fire Alvarez. The only way that's going to happen is if Rubenstein just completely gets rid of everybody and they have to start over with a new GM. The new GM probably wants his own manager. I think it's a moot point because that's not going to happen. I don't foresee it happening if it hasn't already taken place. So I think Alvarez is going to get another year minimally. I mean, we can point to some of the injuries that they've had and this, that, and the other. Do I love Alvarez? No. Did I have higher hopes? Yes. Um, it's not worked out. I don't know that all of it's his issue. I think sometimes it's been some of the cards that he's been forced to play. And, it goes back to Mike Elias, who's the GM. And ultimately, if they don't make a move with that, I don't see them firing Alvarez because I don't think it's his. He certainly has some blame, but a lot of it is stuff that he's forced to deal with based off of the roster he's given. I mean, this bullpen, that's the other side of it is the starting pitching hasn't been as good in the last, time or two through the rotation. And this bullpen has gotten worse because you traded Tyler Wells. He was one of your better arms. And so on any given night, anytime you're going to that bullpen, it's Jekyll Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get. So the starting pitching is going to have to carry
Box of
this team.
chocolates.
Yeah. The starting pitching is going to have to be better than it has been over the last week or so if this team is going to stay in it. They can't rely on a bullpen to have to cover 4 or 5 innings every night. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's see here. Going to do a couple more here. Rays can tie their franchise winning streak with 13 games with a sweep of the O's this weekend. So we could pretty much pencil in 4 more losses for the O's. Jeez. That is what, Narniak? Am I saying that right? 69, Narniak 69.
Yeah, it looks
Um,
like.
Geez, that was dark. Um,
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird because if you look at what Tampa has, like they've got a lot of like it's almost like it's Orioles South. I mean, you've got Cedric Mullins, you've got Tyler Wells, Brandon Hyde is down there. So I'm not saying that I'm rooting for Tampa if the Orioles don't make the playoffs, but it's like they got a lot of guys that the Orioles are familiar with, and um, I don't know.
well, uh, let's take a look at this one. Where are we here? Okay, now this one I'm not sure about. Alvarez was completely screwed by Mike Elias at the deadline, just like Manzolino last season. Narniak 69. Narniak 69. What are they supposed to do at the deadline? They're like 4 or 5 games out at the deadline, and Lord knows where they were last season. I can't remember, maybe 15 out. What what was he supposed to do? What? Buy? Get 2 pitchers and an outfielder? And they need a closer and 2 bullpen arms. That's how far away they are right
Yeah.
now. Nope, not sure about that one because it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
No, I mean, I
Um,
think Taylor Ward was, in my opinion, addition by subtraction. He didn't really, in my opinion, hurt this team by getting Tyler Wells. I think was, looking back, that was a big move because it affected the bullpen. Adley hadn't played up until the deadline anyway, so it wasn't like they, hadn't played without him. But yeah, I mean, they didn't really do much to improve this team, but I don't necessarily think that they made it like that much worse either.
yeah, I don't think so either, Matt. Now, speaking of thinking, watch how smart I get, Matt. Uh, a post game for the New York Yankees, and that is live. Join Matt and I uh, for a post game that we are probably all going to be complaining about, but hopefully the Orioles perform well. Lastly, here, Randall O's have too many holes to fill. Thank you for that, Randall. We certainly knew that one, sir. Every Friday, Birdland Mailbag every Friday, right here, 1 p.m., youtube.com at Joe Rossano's Orioles Report. Again, folks, if you could be so kind, please subscribe, like, please share our episodes that are on YouTube. Again, youtube.com at Joe Rossano's Orioles Report. Comment, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes of Joe Rossano's Orioles Report. For the brilliant Michael Sullivan, the handsome Matt Faulkner, I am Joe Rossano. Don't forget to adopt a pet. God bless you, O's fans, and we will see. All right, hold on. Somebody else got some. We
Oh,
got one more here. Uh, this is who's this? Catherine? Who is that?
yeah, it
Because
looks like it. Yeah.
uh, I'm a girl daughter dad, Catherine. So we're gonna let you in here. Defense wins championships. The Orioles way was solid, fundamental feeling. I could not have said that better
Amen.
myself. Matt, can you say it
Absolutely.
any better than that?
No, I can't. It's the old Ripken way, right? I mean, defense wins championships, right? So I agree.
As I was about to say, Catherine, thank you very much, my fellow and sister Rose fans. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Tuesday, post game for the New York Yankees. I'd say about 9:30 p.m. Right, Matt?
Sounds like a
And
plan.
I also say, O's fans, Birdland, God bless you.